How's everybody doing today? My name is Jamiu Sokoya. I'm a physics teacher from Chicago. I teach in Chicago Public School. I wanted to talk about how I use Seneca today to reinforce my content in my classroom. So this is a typical thing, but result that I got when I use Seneca. I mean, by the way, I teach mostly 16, 17-year-old. So this is typical what I do. When I give them this assignment on Seneca to reinforce what we talked about in class, I go around and look at the student grade, performances based on what they do here, and then what I do if any student score less than 80%, all of the because my goal every time is for my students to score 80%. It might be hard at the beginning, but if I keep pushing back, most of my students do get a grade because I give students the chance to repair their work all the time. Because I believe kids can be given, if you give kids chances, they could do a lot. So I always give my student opportunity for them to review. So when they get less than 80%, I will send it back. I will reassign the assignment to those specific students, and they will redo until they get to what I want them to be. I'm going to keep pushing back on them, even though they get frustrated sometimes. But I believe, student will do what you allow them to do, setting the tone from day one, and that's what I always push back on. So, because we're online, I don't get to see my student. According to our district policy, a student do not have to show their camera. They don't have to turn their camera on. So the student use that leverage. None of them turn the camera on. I'm only seeing all these pictures, all these background picture my students are using. So after like a month or two, I told them that some of them can put their pictures as a background. Some of them did, most of them did not. I said, okay. And I keep, some of them do not talk at all. During classes, when I ask questions, during discussion, most of them, only like 20 or 30% do say something. Most of them would never say anything. Weeks and weeks and weeks, I don't hear their voice. So I was thinking one day, and I said, maybe I can tell this student. I told them that I'm looking for a day where I can be hearing their voice at least once a week. And they asked me, and some of them said, no, we don't want to do that. I said, because I miss you guys. When you tell kids that you miss them, it kind of pushes them more and say, wow, you miss us? Yes, I do. I do miss you guys talking to me. I'm just by here sitting down, talking to myself all the time. So we agreed that every Friday, whatever we did for that week, every kid is going to have a presentation. You have to tell everyone what you have learned for that week. And the youth thing, what I did was that I put it on gradebook so that they can see the progress that they are making. And one of the tools that what I use for them to relearn or for them to understand this concept, I'm using Seneca as part of that. So if I'm pushing them for them to do Seneca over and over again, I have to use it so that I can assess if they're actually learning something from that website. Because I don't want to waste my time and my kids' time. So when they do that, then we do, they're getting more skills and they understanding the concept more, which is great for me. So this is my grade book right here. I wanted to show everybody what I have here very quickly. So if you see, we do lab every day. I mean, once or twice a week. Because of the information that I'm letting them get from Seneca, I'm seeing improvement. In September, their grades were very, very low when we do lab. But because we use Seneca, I can see an improvement from their grade. And again, if you look on this column here, the one that says parts 01, 02, those are discussion where they have to tell me what they have learned. And I'm seeing improvement in that too, because initially nobody's talking. So if I'm seeing 70, 80% of students talking, to me, that's an achievement. And that's what and that's the main reason why that is happening, because of Seneca. So I use Seneca every time. So the same thing I just talked about, before we do lab, I will give them some time during class to go and review what we have done on Seneca. So if they get a low grade, they have to redo and redo and redo. One thing I don't, for a reason for this year, I used to have like a co-teacher in my class from one of my struggling students. For this year, I never had any co-teacher. So I have to deal with my special needs students by myself. So, but one thing I don't want to do, I don't want to pull down the bar. I don't want to reduce the content for my special needs student. By using Seneca, my special needs students, they are making more progress in comparison to my regular student, which is great. Because I have to have a tool for them so that I cannot be there for them all the time. So by using Seneca, it kind of helped them a lot. Even though initially when they do the review on Seneca, they might have a bad grade on it, maybe 30%, 40% sometimes. They feel discouraged. All I do, I will reassign Seneca the assignment again to those specific struggling students. They might do it 3 or 4 times. I always tell them it's okay. It's okay to do it 3 times. And they will continue to do it until they get to the point that I want them to be. And which is a win-win for me and the student. So the same thing, if you look at my contents, for those students that come to class and stick with the rigor that I'm trying to make, their grades are going on really, really good. It is very, very, this class right here, this is my special need class that I have. I have like 10 students here that are struggling. But when I first started in September, it wasn't looking like this. But you could see now that some of them are getting A's and B's now, because we are doing it over and we're doing it over again. Even though I'm kind of behind for this school year in terms of the content of where they're supposed to be, but I want them to make sure, even though we might not cover everything we're supposed to cover, whatever we're able to do, that they understand the concept. That is my goal. And I'm achieving that, which is pretty good. So for my first semester grade exam, I gave them a writing assignment. I gave them different topics, like different questions. If you look at this question here, they have to tell me what they have learned, because we're closing out our fourth semester. What I did, I put this question to them. They have to explain to me in detail what they have learned. What I did, I kind of flagged them if they cut and paste online. Because some of them, they just want to cut and paste and give me the information online. So this is kind of flagged. If you look on that side, if you look to your right here, it says no flag passages. That tells you the student even though initially when they take this test, some of them were copying, I have to resend it back for them to read you. That means they have to tell me. No, I told them I want them to tell me what they have learned since September up to date. And that's what I get. The same thing over here. If you look right there on the right-hand corner, this one say it was flagged 3 times. That means from this assignment here, the student copy and paste online like 3 different times. But before we get to 3, when this student was turning to me, it was like 12 different flag message passages. But I returned it back for her to redo it, and she turned it in. Okay, so Seneca, I'm getting all this good assignment here, all this writing. So if anybody have any question for me, I'll be ready now to answer your question. Thank you, everybody, for listening to me.
Thank you very much.